The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Herod sent to have John arrested and had him chained up in prison because of Herodias, his brother's wife, whom he had married. For John told Herod, it is against the law for you to have your brother's wife. As for Herodias, she was furious with him and wanted to kill him. But she was not able to, because Herod was afraid of John, knowing him to be a good and holy man, and gave him his protection. When he had heard him speak, he was greatly perplexed, and yet he liked to listen to him. An opportunity came on Herod's birthday, when he gave a banquet to the nobles of his court, and for his army officers, and for the leading figures in Galilee. When the daughter of the same Herodias came in and danced, she delighted Herod and his guests. So the king said to the girl, ask me anything you like, and I will give it to you. And he swore her an oath. I will give you anything you ask, even half of my kingdom. She went out and said to her mother, what shall I ask for? She replied, the head of John the Baptist. The girl hurried straight back to the king and made a request. I want you to give me John the Baptist's head, here and now, on a dish. The king was deeply distressed, but thinking of the oaths he had sworn of his guests, he was reluctant to break his word to her. So the king at once sent one of the bodyguard with orders to bring John's head. The man went off and beheaded him in prison. Then he brought the head on a dish and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. When John's disciples heard about this, they came back and took his body and laid it in a tomb. The Gospel of the Lord. Today, many people make their living by lying. We call it spin doctors. These are people who are able to convince us of an alternative reality. As one politician in the United States would have said, it was an alternative truth. All of this to say, it was a lie. A big lie. A huge lie. And we have become comfortable with lies today. We have become very comfortable with lies and accepting lies. And we're not calling out people when they are not telling the truth. We have become a society that is quite accepting of lies. Today we see the battle between truth and lies. The battle between the integrity of the word and the hypocrisy of the word. And very often we see John the Baptist as the one who is the speaker of truth. But today I want to move away a little bit from John the Baptist to look at Herod as a man of integrity and a man of his word. Herod does something foolish. And the foolish thing that Herod did was not that he killed John the Baptist or beheaded John the Baptist. That was not the foolish thing that Herod did. The foolish thing that Herod did is that he made a rash oath. He made a rash promise. You know when you're drinking the white rum and the spirit gets in your head, you see any kind of thing? Well, that is what happened to Herod. Lining with the boys, all his big officials, and the spirit went to his head, and then he said he made an oath. The text tells us Herod made an oath. And that oath was Herod said to Herodias' daughter, Salome, ask me any, not Herod, the Herodias, who was his brother's wife, and also his niece. Yes, he married his brother's wife and also his niece. And he asked Herod, he told Herodias, if your daughter would dance, I will give up half my kingdom. He made an oath. But Herod was man enough to stand up to his word. Herod was man enough to be faithful and to be truthful to the word that he gave in the presence of the witnesses. He was faithful enough because Herod loved John. Herod did not want to kill John. The text says Herod protected John. We read that this morning. Herod protected John. So John was protected by Herod. John was protected by Herod. So Herod did not want to harm John. Herod loved to listen to John. Though he became a disciple from afar, he loved to listen to John. But here, Herod is forced to do something that he does not want to do because he gave his word. I dare say, we hold up Herod this morning as a man to his word. A man who is able to be truthful to the word that he has given. Today we have this misguided concept that we have the freedom of speech, an absolute freedom of speech. Yes, we have freedom of speech, which is enshrined to us in the Constitution. But we don't have an absolute freedom of speech, and that's the difference. We don't have an absolute freedom of speech to say anything we want without having consequences to what we say. And that's the difference. And I hear and see people writing and holding up this misguided concept that we have an absolute freedom of speech. You do not have an absolute freedom of speech. In fact, one author said, if you must speak, you must speak. If you have to speak, if you must speak, then you have to speak the truth. Because if you say something that is against my character, if you say something that is not truthful, then you can be sued. And so enshrined in the very laws is the whole concept you don't have absolute freedom of speech. That if you speak and you don't speak the truth concerning who I am, then you can be sued. And we have seen it played out many times in our society, worse yet in the United States, where they have another misguided concept of freedom of speech. My dear friends, today we are facing a crisis. It's called a crisis of truth. A crisis of truth, where they are no longer truth speakers, where they are no longer people who can give you their word, where their word would mean something. Herod was able to give his word, and his word meant something. He remained faithful to the word that he gave. And the irony about it is that Herod was the best of persons. Herod was the best of persons. But the text has so framed it to show Herod taking great responsibility for his word. This text follows through from the book of the Judges, where Jephthah, after coming back from a war, says to make another rash oath. And he said, the first person that comes from my tent, the first stick with animal that comes, the person that comes from my tent, I will offer sacrifice, thinking that a lamb or sheep would come from his tent. What came was his daughter. His only daughter came from the tent. That's the first person to greet him after the war, after the battle. And Jephthah had to be faithful to that oath he gave to God. And sacrifice his daughter. That's another story, because it's more complicated than that. But to say that your word must mean something. Because the God we serve is a God of truth. The God we serve is a God who is truth. Jesus says, I am the way and the truth and the life. And every Christian must stand on the basis of truth. Every Christian must be truthful. And that's why in the commandments, we are told it is against the commandment to bear false witness against one's neighbor. It is called lying. It is called lying. And unfortunately, we are a society that has become quite comfortable with telling lies and telling untruths. And we have now made it a system, a science, and we have now made it acceptable, and we have now made it something that we pay plenty of money to get done. The Christian community cannot accept this. The Christian community is based on the truth of Christ Jesus and the proclamation of that truth. John the Baptist was a herald of that truth. And because of John's truth, he upset people. Not so much Herod, but Herod's wife, Herodias, who was angry with John. Said, how can you say, I am my brother's wife? Yes, you will. How can you say, I am married my uncle? Yes, you did. And Herod was not afraid to speak truth to power. Listen to me, it takes red belly. And you say, I think I'm you must have belly like calabash to be able to speak truth to power. Because the consequences are often dire, and the consequences can lead to you losing your head. Jesus follows in the prophetic tradition of John. And that's why in this same excerpt, Herod was confused because he said, John I beheaded, but people are saying there's one like John who's still here, whose voice of preaching is similar to that of John. What is happening? Well, Jesus followed in the same tradition of John, because Jesus was a prophet, but more than a prophet. Jesus was a prophet, and because he was a prophet, he was not afraid to speak the truth. In the first reading here of the prophet Jeremiah, and the word of God saying to Jeremiah, don't be afraid. I will make you into a strong city, a fortified city, a wall of bronze. They're going to fight you, but they're not going to win. But Jeremiah had some serious things to speak to the king, and very often he paid the price. He paid the consequence. I'm not here this morning to tell you some naive truth, and that if you speak the truth, everything is going to go well. No, it's not. You speak the truth, there are consequences. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose your promotion. You're going to lose things. But you will have your honor, your dignity, and you will have your conscience. These are values that have been lost today. And guess who has highlighted them for us? Herod. We thank Herod this morning. We thank Herod that Herod was faithful to the truth, to his word. His word meant something. And he acted out on them. Though it ended in the life of John the Baptist, yet Herod's word meant something. Herod was faithful to his oath. As foolish as that oath was, he was faithful to that oath. Are you faithful to your word?